The following is a presentation of the WRAD Talk Network and New River Radio Group. It's time for Fourth and Goal, presented by Cody Jernell of the Gravity Real Estate Group on the WRAD Talk Network. Voice of the Pulaski County Cougars, Rick Watson, is here to discuss and break down this week's matchups in the New River Valley and beyond. Here is Rick Watson.
And we welcome you into another edition of the Fourth and Goal Show. I'm Rick Watson, joined by the sports director, WFXR, Jermaine Ferrell. And Jermaine, are we really already talking about week 6 of the high school football season? You know, we talk about how long it takes to get here, and boy, once it gets here, it just kind of flies on by, doesn't
it? You know, that's so true, Rick. I mean, we're like in the midpoint because obviously it takes, you get 11 weeks to get in 10 games. So week 6 will put you smack dab in the middle. So we're ready. I mean, we got some good stuff coming. You know, you already got your jacket on, so you're ready for the fall.
I am ready. It's cold here. A little chilly here in the morning.
I still got my farmer T-shirt on or something like that. You know, when you talk about casual, I think I probably took it too far, but it's
all right. Casual's good. Casual's good. Let's get right into last week, man. Let's talk about Hidden Valley, right? Let's talk about Scott Weaver's program a little bit. Best start ever since he's been there, 5-0. Sam Dragovich, a terrific veteran quarterback. They have a lot of veteran skill players. This is a big one tonight. We'll talk about against Pulaski County, but a big win last week on the road at Franklin County to remain perfect. I've been very impressed with the Titans so far.
Yeah, they've been very impressive. Just a couple of tidbits. This is the third time in program history. Keep in mind, Hidden Valley's only been around since, like 2002.
Yeah.
And this is the third time in program history they started 5-0. You know, they have an opportunity to go to 6-0 for the second time. The irony is, here's some ironies. The two occasions where they were 5-0, the next opponent they played was
the Cougars.
There you go. And in those situations, Pulaski's won one, and then Hidden Valley won the other. So the best start for them would be 6-0. But looking back, and we'll get into the weeds of that in a little bit, but looking back at it, that was a great physical contest because J.R. Edwards used to be the head coach at Hidden Valley. So there was always a connection between Edwards and Coach Weaver. Weaver was on his staff there, and so when they were at Hidden Valley. But they really are about as complete a team as you got. Well, you got the running backs, you know, you got Ferrell, and then obviously the quarterback Dragovich. I mean, you got something there because they really look big time. And when you got a quarterback, a running back, and they play very well on defense as well, I mean, it's one of those things with them. And I was talking to someone else about this earlier the other day. If Hidden Valley, if you fall behind against Hidden Valley, you're going to be in some troubles. And the thing is, you can stay close with them now. If you look at some of their wins, I mean, you know, they had a close win against Cave Spring, close win against Hidden Valley.
Yeah, they did.
Against Cave Spring, and then obviously Franklin County.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the games where they were supposed to win, they went in and did that. So, you know, Hidden Valley is not going to sneak up on anybody now. And so you got to look at them now, and they're going to be a factor in the region, in Region 3D, along with Christiansburg too, because you know Christiansburg, they're undefeated as well. So probably if you say who are your pleasant surprises on a positive way, would probably be Christiansburg and also Hidden Valley, the way they've played.
Yeah, how about those Blue Demons? And by the way, maybe not a coincidence, Jermaine, I'm a big uniform guy. They both wear the navy blue and gold. So maybe there's a correlation there. Nobody saw 63-0 coming last week against Radford.
No. And the thing is, I bumped in some of the Radford players at the VMI game because obviously they were on a recruiting tour, man. You know, I said, hey, sorry, guys, it was a tough one for you, but, you know, they'll bounce back because, you know, Coach Chris, he'll get those guys going. But, yeah. 63-0, that was a statement. And obviously, tonight they have a statement against Salem if they can get there and get a win. Because now when you look at that River Ridge, we talked about this on a Big Dog Sports Talk, on Tuesday. We said, now we're going to see, because the second half of the season gets tougher because Christiansburg and Hidden Valley, they play each other. But each of them, they also have Pulaski County. They also get Salem. They also get Patrick Henry. So, I mean, right now it's kind of like the haves and have-nots. I mean, you got that district where you got those teams, and then on the other end, Blacksburg and Cave Spring, they're always giving their all, but they only got one win combined between them.
Right.
And that was I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like I say, Cave Spring beat Allegheny, and then they'll play each other on the road. But Rick, I'm telling you right now, when those games, those 5 teams meet some type of combination, it's going to be a fun battle.
Well, it really is. In Pulaski County, they handled Cave Spring last week. Cave Spring was shorthanded, though. They were without arguably their 3 best players, right? They didn't have their starting quarterback. They didn't have the Cooper kid. They didn't have their tailback, the Altizer kid. But the big news out of that game, Jermaine, is that Cam Cooper, Pulaski County's quarterback, hurt late in the fourth quarter, out for the season. So now you bring in a sophomore, Chris Gallimore, to try to lead the way into this big game coming up against Hidden Valley. So it was a great win for the Cougars to open up district play, but some horrible injury news coming out of that contest.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. But another guy that I was really impressed with, and he's been in our highlights a lot, Mr. Lyman, John Lyman.
Best player on the field.
Yeah. He's. I think he's scored every way you can. Offense, defense, special teams, and all that. He's also been. And for all the viewers out there and the fans, we got a little surprise. A little surprise if you watch Friday Night Blitz tonight at 11.
Oh, goody!
We have a little surprise connected to Pulaski County. That's what you call a tease.
That's a teaser right there,
radio
folks.
bit.
I'm going to be watching.
Just stand by, stay tuned for that, and we'll have all that coming up this evening. But there's something Pulaski County fans will enjoy. I can guarantee.
Folks, it's a tease because I don't even know. He won't even tell me. So there we go.
Yeah. I might tell you after the show.
Okay, perfect. Let's look at the Seminole. Amherst, a big win. Glass continues to just dominate, and the LCA beat up on Brookville. We know how tough this league is, but those 3 in particular seem to be separating themselves so far. What do you think? What's going on there?
Don't forget about Heritage either.
Heritage that's right. That's right.
Don't forget about the fighting Brad Bradley.
The fighting, and they always fight into Brad Bradley.
Yeah,
yes.
Brad Bradley and Jeff. And just look right there. You look at the coaches. I mean, you got some good coaches. I mean, you got Coach Rocco. He's won a state championship. You also got Jeff Woody. He's won state championships. Was that now?
Yeah, he's grabbing Jeff Woody. He's a legend, man. He really is.
He is. And then also Brad Bradley. And, there's some pedigree, and then you also look at Bob Christmas, won state championships too. So that district's got so many state championship coaches. They know what it takes to make a deep run in the playoffs. But really, right now, if you have to say, okay, who's the team that's really, kind of the one that's really been impressive, and they all been impressive, but LCA, to get that win over Brookville, 35-7. That was another kind of surprising game, because Brookville is a strong team, and they got quarterback play, and they got Tayshawn Butler playing offense and defense. But you got Davis Lane of LCA doing his thing as the quarterback position. So 35-7 last week. That was our game of the week. I personally did not see a 35-7 game.
No.
I thought it was gonna be a close one. But LCA pulled away in that one, and then they got another one coming up this tonight as they take on Rustburg, a team that's lost their last 2 games, played Monday and lost to EC Glass. Rustburg. That game was Hidden Valley. I'm naming all the schools. Heritage. I'll get it right. They lost a close one to Heritage. Heritage, they were battling back and forth with Rustburg, and then in the end, Rustburg, succumbed to Heritage at 28-14.
Right.
But it's still a good Rustburg team. Bert Torrance, another state championship coach the other sideline.
That's
so,
right.
It'll be a good game there. And, LCA is playing with momentum. And I think they're playing with a mission because, last year they came up a little short, lost in the state semifinals to Lord Bottot. And I think this LCA team is on a mission. They want to prove they belong where they belong.
Well, another one to talk about, your alma mater. And speaking of Bert Torrance, his former school, Northside, had the lead throughout the game against Patrick Henry until the fourth quarter. That was a good comeback win for the Patriots, 29-22.
There's some cool players on both sides of the ball. When you look at Northside, and we'll throw them in real quick, they've had some injury issues. but Jarrell Rhodes, J2,
Oh,
the third or the second. I think I call him the second, but he could be the third. And, his dad was a great football player with
absolutely.
William Fleming
Yep.
as well. I mean, and a little side note, he could throw the shot put. Tank, we call him Tank. That's his nickname. He could throw the shot. I went up against him in high school, it's in track. And so he was a tremendous football player. Meanwhile, on the Patrick Henry side, there's some other bloodlines. I mean, Carmelo Taylor that plays for PH.
Right.
Well, his brother, a strong football player. He's also the nephew of Shannon Taylor,
That's
who,
what I
of
thought.
course,
Yeah,
was a great at PH, went on to UVA, went on to the NFL. And, it's so there's some bloodlines there. And, I think they're starting to get momentum themselves after that tough loss. Because, when you play varsity for the first time, and this is interesting, you get kids in there that have never played varsity. So they struggle, that first game against Brookville. Then they got the bye week. And as crazy as this may sound, Rick, maybe that bye week came at a perfect time after week one, because and normally you don't want to have a bye week that early in the season.
true.
But maybe that's what they needed to regroup. And since then, they've won 3 in a row. And they got a game against kind of a depleted Blacksburg team coming up tonight. So right now, once they get this win, then now PH, their schedule's going to get tougher too, because again, they get the Hidden Valley, Christiansburg, Salem, Pulaski gauntlet. So we will find out in a hurry about them, because they got 4 of their last 5 is against them. And that's going to be real interesting. They have a game against Cave Spring in the mix. But after that, I'll put it to you like this. I don't know who has a tougher second half to their schedule. Could be Patrick Henry, because like I said, they got Pulaski, Salem, Christiansburg, and Hidden Valley. I don't know.
It's not fun.
But they end the season. Traditionally, they used to end the season, with Pulaski, not Pulaski County, but actually in the last few years, the last week of the season, they would actually have their bye at the end of the season.
Right.
But they end the season against Pulaski County at home, and then they go over to Salem Stadium. So that's a serious combination right there for Patrick Henry. But Alan Fittler, he'll probably get the guys rocking and rolling. They've been the model of consistency over there.
Well, before our break here in NRV and down in Roanoke County, Glenver continues to roll. They beat Carroll 28-0. Giles, Coach Williams got them going, right? 40-21 over Fort Chiswell, and a little further, kind of northwest, the Graham G-Men. They had a big old win against Galax, 28-0. I don't think enough people understand how good Graham is this year, Jermaine. Very good team.
I tell you, they are I think they're 4-0, and they're a perennial power every year. I mean, Graham, you know what you get with Graham. I mean, there was a battle of the G's. Ain't nothing but a G thing.
That's exactly right.
They took, for all the youngins, they don't know who that is. That was Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre song in the early 90s.
That's right.
Those kids weren't born yet. They played on high school football. Well,
That's
some
true.
of them. Well, no, it'd be close. I mean, if you were a senior, if you were born in 93, it's close. But anyway, we won't go there. But yeah, Graham is always good. I mean, what's neat about them, they play their home games outside the state. They share a state. They share a stadium with the Bluefield Beavers,
Mitchell
out
Stadium,
of West Virginia.
Right?
And that's like a cool place. I mean, I've never been there. They say that to see a game there would be neat. And I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's a stadium that it's interesting how they share a stadium with Bluefield. But then again, they're right on the line anyway. So I mean, it works out.
Well, it is, and we're going to have some great some games coming up for this week. We're going to preview when we come back. We're glad to have you aboard wherever you might be. Again, I want to thank Cody Jernell for sponsoring this program. It's the 4th and Goal Show. We're getting you ready for all the high school action as we just had a review from Week 5. We look ahead to Week 6. Stay with us. More coming up. Don't go away.
Now back to more comprehensive high school football coverage in the New River Valley on 4th and Goal, presented by Cody Jernell of the Gravity Real Estate Group on WRAD. Here once again is Rick Watson.
And we welcome you back into the 4th and Goal Show, getting you ready as you head out to the ballpark tonight of your choice. I'm Rick Watson, joined by Jermaine Ferrell. Of course, he's the sports director for WFXR. The X marks the spot. And of course, Friday Night Blitz. Jermaine, I haven't asked you yet. What is your game of the week on the Blitz this weekend?
Game of the week is going to be Christiansburg visiting Salem.
Good choice.
We had some good candidates in there, but like I said, this is going to be. And again, I'm not saying that Christiansburg they haven't been tested, because they've gone on the road and they've had some good wins. So when you look at their 4-0 record, I mean, they've had some good wins.
They have.
But I think, if you want to know where you stand in high school football, there's certain teams you want to know where you stand. Salem is on that list. And to go to Salem, and it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. It's going to be a crazy crowd. You're actually going to be in the area because Pulaski plays Hidden Valley. We'll talk about that in a second. But Christiansburg, again, I mean, they got some, and we've had them on as one of our players of the week, their quarterback there. So they are, like I said, we're going to find out about them. I think they're playing with a lot of momentum. I think they're playing with inspired football, and I think this is going to be an exciting matchup. And I look for a good game. Salem, however, is Salem. I mean, they just keep winning and winning and winning. They are the definition of, we don't rebuild, we reload. And I remember, I think Joel Hicks made that statement once before. We don't rebuild, we reload. I remember him saying that many moons ago during a TV interview. And he said, we don't rebuild, we reload. And, again, when you think of Salem, you think of obviously just the pedigree. I mean, those kids, when they come out the womb, they have the playbook.
Yeah.
They run the offense that they run and that is the definition of a program. When you run the same offense and defense while you're at the rec league level, you carry that on to middle Andrew Lewis middle school level. You run it at freshman and JV. So by the time you get up to varsity, the offense. So
and it's not complicated either. They just run out of the I formation. They play their 4-man front. They don't do anything special, but what they do very well, And
you got to try to stop it. And that's the reason why, like I said, in the first half of games, you might get 2 or 3 yards. You might hold them to 2 or 3 yards on a run, but it's kind of like in boxing. If you hit someone enough and you wear them down,
right,
then guess what's going to happen? That second half of those runs that you might have got 2 or 3 yards on, they become 7-yard runs. They become 15-yard runs. They become, we taking it to the house specials. So those are the games and those are the teams. But you know what? They're effective, and they're it's kind of like oatmeal. Oatmeal fills you up. Is oatmeal as flashy as an omelet? At the Rick Watson house, or
Absolutely.
Something like that. Or but guess what? The oatmeal fills you up. That you don't add. If you want to add a raisin or cinnamon to it, that's fine.
Then you're good.
But it's going to fill you up. I mean, and so it serves the purpose. And I think it's going to be a slug out because Christiansburg, I've seen their highlights. We've seen them. They have weapons too. So it's going to be a good game, an interesting game, and we'll see how it all plays out. But I can tell you right now, I'd be surprised if one team blew the other one out. If that happens, I put a caveat in there. I think if it happens, it's going to be because obviously there maybe was turnovers or some things that happened, maybe an injury or something like that. But I see this as a close game, and obviously if they're playing at Salem, you got to give them the advantage there. But that's going to be a fun one. So it's the David de Guzman special. I stole the page. I stole the page from our good buddy Wes Durham. You know how he announces who's going to be at the games and all that. So that's the David de Guzman special. He'll be our game of the week.
Well, we look forward to that. Just to get folks updated, some schedule adjustments. Graham and George Wythe canceled for Friday. Bluefield, Lord Botetourt as well. Auburn, Fort Chiswell. Glenver, James River has been postponed until October 18th. Stanton River, Spotswood postponed, no date. Covington, Grayson postponed, no date. Stanton River, Allegheny now going to be played on October the 12th. And one game has already been played for this week as GW Danville beat Amherst 42-15.
And you mentioned the schedule real quick. I can throw something out there.
Yeah.
So what Fort Chiswell and Grayson County, since they lost their dance partners, their district play, they decided to play as a non-district game tonight. Fort Chiswell 0-5, Grayson County 2-2.
Good.
They said, hey, you know what? You need a partner. And teams have done that. If you're in the same district and you
Yeah,
need a game,
absolutely.
you do a non-district. I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't know if you had that or not, but
Very smart. I like that.
just want to make
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I intervene, Rick, when I need to. I don't. I
No,
mean, I
that's
let you.
fine. That's
Hey,
fine.
it's like,
That's fine.
hey, I don't try to get ahead of my skis, but if I can get ahead of my skis, I will do what I can to help you out, sir. So I
No,
just
I
want to
like
throw
it.
it out there.
That's
Let everybody
good.
know.
That's good. Well, I'm glad to see they're playing. And I know a lot of these aren't necessarily virus related. I know Auburn's still down some players. So some of these smaller programs are trying to get people healthy because that's where we are, unfortunately, with some of the numbers, right? Some injuries happen and you just don't feel safe enough to go out there with a low amount of players. So hopefully that'll change. But it's tough right now for some of the smaller schools in terms of turnout and so forth. And that's something else that
I,
coaches have to deal with, you know?
Yeah, I gotta ask you, do you know, I don't know the VHSL. I know in Texas when I was out there covering stuff, they had a rule you had to have a minimum, I think, of 15 or 16 players to start a game.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't remember if that's the same
I think it is.
in the I think it yeah. So I can't remember if that's the same, but I do
Yeah.
know you gotta have you can't roll out with 11
No,
because once you get below 11, in fact, I mean you can't even play. And
can't play.
yeah, but it's been that way, in the area. There's just not a lot of kids coming out to play football and all the sports. So you feel for these football teams. They have the heart, but at the same time, you got to have the numbers.
I agree. All right, we got Blacksburg at PH tonight. Blacksburg really struggling, as you mentioned. They've been shorthanded with personnel and so forth. Cave Spring at Williamburg. Cave Spring, I know they're going to be a little healthier this week, so that'll be interesting to see if they can get back on the winning track. Floyd County's playing well. They've got a road trip to Carroll County. That'll be a very interesting game. Radford, homecoming for them against Allegheny. You would expect that to go pretty well for the Bobcats. But what other games, other than the ones we've talked about in the River Ridge and so forth, what do you looked at as a highlight game for you this week, Jermaine?
Well, another game, and actually, I'll catch up with you again at this game. Finally, I think we'll catch up with each other. I'll be over. We'll cover that Hidden Valley Pulaski County game. Now, it's a shame that they've had an injury to their quarterback and Cam Cooper, because now it's going to put a little more pressure. But if there's one coach that can have the next man up mentality and get them going, is Mark Dixon.
Yeah.
Because Mark Dixon, he's one of the best. I mean, we all got great coaches in there. I'm not, saying one is better than the other. But Mark Dixon is a coach that, okay, I don't have my quarterback, but you found out early enough. It wasn't one of those injuries that happened, the day before the game or whatever. So now you can, okay, now, we can do what we can to adjust and make things happen. So it's gonna be a good one at Bogle. You'll be there covering it like you always are. The voice of the Pulaski County Cougars, as well as the voice of the Radford Highlanders. You're the man, and so it's gonna be a good one there because you got a lot of talent. Again, Hidden Valley. You know what you're gonna get with them. But another game that's gonna be interesting, and you mentioned Floyd County. How about Winford Beale?
Yeah, they're playing well,
Coach
man.
Beale. I mean, 3-1 right now, chance to go 4-1. But again, that schedule on the back end is going to get a little tougher.
It is.
But the thing is, you have a chance. We mentioned LCA. They play Rustburg. That's going to be a game that's been moved around a bunch.
It has been. Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But one game I'd like to really shine a spotlight on is going to be GW Danville, George Washington, taking on Martinsville. George Washington, 3-1 on the year. This will be their third game within the week.
Yeah, how about that?
Because if you look at it, they played Friday.
That's right.
They played Friday, and then they played on a Tuesday. They beat Patrick County 61-12. Then and then Monday night they turned around, Tuesday night. Tuesday night played Amherst. Now, that game was originally supposed to go down as a forfeit, but I think they both still wanted to play the game. They
Which
said,
I like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a cheap win. Now, that would have been a win for George Washington.
Right.
Because Amherst County had to make the move, and they did that. So think about this. Friday, Friday, Tuesday, and now you got a game tonight. So in the span of a week, three games. So basically, and with George Washington, they do have another game they have to make up, and that was due to issues on their end. But that'll be at the end of the season, and They play Dinwiddie, so that's a so that's one way to end your regular season. You're going down to Dinwiddie. Billy Miles, who's been a coach in our area here.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry, Mills, not Miles, Mills.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Mills. I said Miles and Mills. See, that's what I'm saying. You know what happens? You got names jumbled in the brain.
I know. There's so many names. I know.
Insane in the membrane, as they say. But again, I'm going to some old school rap. The youngins don't know. But the thing is that they're a team to keep your eye on. And in Halifax, how about Halifax County 3-0?
Blue Comets,
Jefferson Forest. The Blue Comets, they go to Jefferson Forest 0-4. And then Chilhowie, 4-0 on the season. I can't remember. They either visit Honaker tonight or Honaker comes to them. I think it might be the other way around, but they're going to be a good one. And then Narrows trying to bounce back. They're 2-2. They go to Holston. So you got some of those games, but
they're
the
at
Granby,
Honaker, by the way. Yeah.
They're at Honaker.
Chilhowie is at Honaker, correct. So
okay, just want to make sure I had that right. Yeah. And then how about this game? I mean, Granby, a team in the Tidewater area, making a long trip to Amherst County. Amherst 2-1, trying to bounce back after that loss Tuesday. So, so there's some good games out there. North Cross, they're 3-1. They have a tough one against Blue Ridge School, so that's going to be a good one in the private school rank. So yeah, we got a lot of good games, a lot of coverage, and of course we'll have all that going, rocking and rolling with Friday Night Blitz coming up tonight at 11, including, again, as I teased before, you're a Pulaski County fan, you definitely want to watch the show because we'll have the highlights. I might take a selfie with Rick Watson when I get up to the booth. I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to be like, hey, Rick, let's take a selfie. But it's going to be a fun time. So, we'll be rocking and rolling like we always do.
And, of course, your game of the week down at Salem Stadium, Christiansburg and Salem, undefeated Christiansburg. We'll find out. Rubber meets the road for the Blue Demons.
It will be interesting, Rick, real quick. It's and usually this was happens to the schedule. So all the teams in the New River Valley area, Pulaski County, Christiansburg, and Blacksburg making a trip to play in the Roanoke Valley tonight, which is a unique thing. Hidden Valley, Pulaski, Patrick Henry, and Salem hosting, those games. So yeah, I mean, in theory, if you wanted to, if you were a New River Valley fan, in theory, you could bounce around all three of the stadiums because they're right by each other. I mean, Hidden Valley, Salem, and Patrick Henry. In theory, you could see one game in the first quarter, one game in the second, and then maybe stay for a half of the other. So you could bounce around if you're in the New River Valley, just bounce around all three of those games.
That's it. Well, Jermaine, listen, man, great stuff. Thank you very much for your time. Great content, as always, here on the Fourth and Goal Show. Again, tonight, WFXR. Check them out as the Friday Night Blitz gets you started and your review of the games that just took place a few hours earlier. Have a great weekend, man. Have great coverage. We'll talk to you next week, Jermaine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. And Ryan Moy, he'll be having that special Player of the Week story, which you want to keep your eye on that tonight, too.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your ball games tonight. Until next week, this has been the Fourth and Goal Show. Take care and have a great weekend.
You've been listening to Fourth and Goal with Rick Watson, presented by Cody Jernell of the Gravity Real Estate Group on the WRAD Talk Network. Tune in again Fridays at 6 p.m. all season long for in-depth analysis of high school football in the New River Valley. This has been a production of the WRAD Talk Network and New River Radio Group. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved.